In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, deep within the earth, a hidden workforce toiled away in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. Long before child labor laws existed, mining companies exploited young boys in the rural and isolated communities across these mountains. It's yet another piece of American history where both the people and the land of Appalachia were exploited, all in the name of progress. Their stories have laid buried beneath layers of history. They were the forgotten faces of the coal mines. Mountain folks had long known of the existence of coal. It was littered throughout the mountain streams and exposed in seams in the hillsides. They used it to heat their homes and for their blacksmith shops. However, during the war between the states, rich northern men were astonished at the seemingly endless amount of coal and began buying up vast tracts of land and setting up mining operations. The demand for coal surged during the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century, and as industries expanded and mechanization increased, coal would become a vital source of fuel for the steam engines, providing power for factories, trains, and other machinery. Another major need for coal came from the development of America's railroad infrastructure, particularly the expansion of railroads in the 19th century. These railroads provided a reliable means to transport the coal from the mines to industrial centers and markets, making it more economically feasible to extract and distribute coal over longer distances. Just like that, the stage was set. The explosion of the Industrial Revolution created an endless need for coal, and the railroad provided the means to transport the coal out of the mountains and into the nation's growing cities. For the first time in history, paying jobs came to Appalachia, and adventuring men came from all over the world to work in these new coal mines. But it wasn't enough. What the mining companies really wanted was the cheapest of labor to maximize profits. It wasn't enough that nearly every grown man in Appalachia was working for them. Now they needed their young boys as well. As the demand for coal skyrocketed, mining towns popped up all over Appalachia. It was common for young boys to quit attending school as early as age 8, but most certainly by age 12 to work in the coal mines. Desperate families struggling to make ends meet sent their boys to work in these dark, dangerous depths below as breaker boys, trappers, and haulers. There, they would most likely spend the rest of their youth and their manhood working sun up to sundown. Heck, most of them only saw the sun shining in the sky on Sundays. The rest of the week, they were in total darkness in the coal mine. By the early 1900s, Appalachia saw the employment of thousands of boys in these coal mines. The hazards that these young workers faced were astonishing, including the looming risk of injury and death due to cave-ins, fires, explosions, and gas poisoning. And additional dangers lurked in the form of floods and dust-filled air and machinery accidents. The youngest boys worked as trapper boys or door boys and played a crucial role in the mining operation. Their main job involved opening and closing the wooden, heavy doors that blocked the entrance to the mine's gangways and tunnels. While seated in these dark rooms, these trapper boys awaited the distant sounds of mine cars. Their job was simply to open the doors to allow the passage of the mine car and promptly close them again. This seemingly simple duty served a vital purpose. When these doors were shut, they directed the airflow and facilitated the influx of fresh air into the tunnels where the adult miners were hard at work. Simultaneously, they regulated the flow and expelled poisonous gases, mitigating the risk of explosions. The life of these trapper boys was characterized by total solitude, confined in the darkness of their rooms and punctuated only by the occasional rumble of mine cars passing through. Yet these boys worked hard and hoped to be promoted. In an effort to maximize profits, mining companies also made these boys mine coal for less than 20% of the wages of a regular miner. Due to their small size, these boys were forced to extract coal from claustrophobic seams in the mountains that only a small child could fit in. Yet these boys took pride in wearing a headlamp like their fathers, and they saw it as a badge of honor. Young boys also tended to mules and worked as couplers, where they hooked and unhooked carts as they carried out tons of coal. It was common for many of these boys to be missing fingers, since any mistake would crush their hands between the carts. All of the jobs involved risk, but the most treacherous was the role of the breaker boy. These breaker boys had a dangerous task of cleaning and sorting the coal, removing the impurities by hand. It was a grueling routine, and boys as young as 8 years old devoted 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, to their work, where they were stationed on wooden seats above chutes and conveyor belts, painstakingly extracting slate and other impurities from the coal. The breaker boys would interrupt the coal flow by pressing their boots into the stream, picking out the impurity before allowing the coal to advance to the next stage of processing. The hazardous nature of the work undertaken by these boys is undeniable. They were deprived of gloves to handle the slick coal effectively, and as they encountered the sharp slate, most of the day their fingers were cut and bleeding, and the swift-moving conveyor belts sometimes resulted in amputated fingers, while others suffered severe injuries, losing their feet, hands, arms, and legs as they navigated the machinery. Occasionally, they would become entangled under the conveyor belts or in the gears. Tragically, untold numbers of breaker boys met their demise on this job. The mine supervisors would only retrieve their lifeless bodies from the gears only at the conclusion of the working day. Others were caught in the rush of coal, meeting their end through crushing or smothering. Health issues were pervasive, with asthma and black lung disease prevalent, and the average lifespan for these boys was just 25 years. Washing this coal also introduced sulfuric acid, and it would burn the hands of the breaker boys. The toll these young workers suffered is unimaginable as they grappled with the perilous conditions, absent of any and all safety equipment, all while they earned as little as 45 cents a day to help their family survive. Despite these hardships, these boys formed a brotherhood, relying on each other for support. But their dreams of education and a better life were crushed beneath the weight of coal-laden carts. As public awareness grew, so did the outcry against child labor. Activists, spurred by a desire for justice, fought for legislative changes. Laws were enacted to protect these young workers. But that transition was slow and painful. Today, the legacy of these boys working in these coal mines has all but nearly been forgotten in the pages of history. Yet, their stories are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a reminder that progress, at times, extracts a heavy toll. It also puts into perspective why child labor laws here in America exist, and it's a reminder that there was a steep price that was paid in blood by these young boys who worked in these coal mines. And the fight's not over, as worldwide the struggle goes on, with many countries still using these boys for these dangerous jobs.